moment I knew I was gay, there was a moment in my life that I reflected on. And that's a moment that thank you for the question, because it brought me back to my early childhood days when I was a very young lad in the family home. Interestingly enough, I was in a group yesterday and we spoke about family home environments where the male father figure is out working and what do women do, and is cook, clean and have chit chats with their friends. I recall a conversation in the kitchen area. Mum had friends round and mum friends brought their son with them. He was of similar height. I don't recall their age. All I remember vividly, we were at similar heights. He was the same nationality, ethnicity, and he was a male boy. I was also a boy. It was around a time when I received presents from my mother. Whether the Christmas or a birthday, I'm not sure, because we weren't privileged to have regular toys. So it was really exciting to get a toy. And it was a vehicle, a yellow tractor with big black wheels on it. I believe it was a tractor. I was excited by this. But I found myself playing with this young friend, but I decided to give away this toy in front of my mum and their friends. I did this, and I'm seeking an acknowledgement that it was okay. I say that from an adult now and reflecting back, but I seeked was some validation that it's okay. But I made up my mind this young man's going to have this toy. I remember my mum jokingly saying, no, don't do that. And the young boy's mum saying the same thing. And parents were saying, adults were saying, no, that's okay. No, that's very nice of you, Lloyd. You don't need to. I was adamant that I'm giving away this toy. Despite the objections, I became angry that I wasn't allowed to hand it over or give it as a gift. And I split in half, in rage. I remember this rage because there was something more was going on for me, and that was an attraction for this boy. And that's when I realized, as an older person now, that moment is when I realized there was something unique about me. It wasn't my sexuality. I didn't know as a child. I didn't know what sexuality was. And let's say I was probably 9 or 7. I knew there was something in my heart, in my stomach, and felt disappointed and let down by my parents that I could not give this gift to somebody that I felt deserved it. Maybe it was an exchange. I don't know, an exchange of appreciation and acknowledgement, but something's happened to my stomach. My mum put it on the top of the fridge, away from arm's reach. I remember coping with disappointment and sadness. Now I've got a broken toy. A toy that I always wanted, and I don't get many toys. But I had to deal with the sudden realization that I'm angry I couldn't give it away, but I've broken it in half. It will never work again. And that was my moment of a realization that stayed with me for life. An interesting subject and an interesting question, because I can only think of that moment. But that moment cemented the foundation of my unique self. And I say that because I stay away from labels. So identity labels, I carried on in life, holding on to. This was a moment I carried throughout my life. And interestingly enough, thinking about it, I've never revisited with my mum. Maybe I don't want the answer that I probably get, or avoiding the obvious response, or whatever. So I've kept it to myself until this moment. But it's also shaped how I interacted later on, not in my late teens, but still as a young boy. I'm from the UK, I was born in the UK. So we had primary schools, one above nursery schools, and you were in there up until 11 years old. I remember in the playground, we played risky games. Nowadays, it wouldn't be acceptable. Kiss chase, chasing the boys and the girls. Following the incident in the home, I recalled how that incident shaped how I interacted with boys and girls in the playground. And when games came up, I was very physical. And there was a game called Kiss Chase. where you was allowed to chase somebody in a group, somebody who had in UK terminology that was having an illness or carrying a bogey, and you must place it on someone else. When I was the person chasing the group, I've always chased off, hit the point. Even though it was a mixed playground, a mixed group, I remember thinking back how I distinguished between boy and girl. And when the game, my turn to play the catcher, it was called He Had Kiss Chase, I went after the boys. And there was an opportunity, and I realized that, well, not only I can touch another boy appropriately, I always ended up making a meal out of it by wrestling with the boys. No, but you get the picture. School ground play activities as a young boy was my opportunity, not only to express myself, but navigate situations. There's also a game. And these all shaped my life because I knew something, again, I was unique and I had an attraction to boys. So there was a game called Kiss Chase. I said these are English terms, English games. And I'm sure we all can remember games behind the school bike shed. And that was an analogy, bike shed. So it's where the bikes were housed in a shed. Games that we played in the playground, we happened to find myself around the bike shed with another boy. And we was embracing. But for me, it's owning those moments. And I go back to the playground game behind the bike sheds, and there's an opportunity where I was cornered by a guy similar age, boy of similar age in the school. And we embraced each other by accident. And we didn't know what we were doing, but we were face to face, pinned each other against the wall and pressed our chests against each other, allowing our lower body parts to come into contact. We were closed. We allowed our inner feelings to take over. So we pushed each other against the wall and had a kiss. And then we realized we kissed and we ran off, turned it into a game and a laugh, and we ran off. To be honest, I never saw him again. Not to say it was a dislike, but you leave to go to another school as you get older. So those are the three unique moments that shaped my life as a young lad. Use the word young lad, so I don't know the age, but I knew I was in a certain age group. So those are the moments that really made me realize and take away from these experiences. There is something unique about me. That still is. Thank you.